for joining today's workshop, okay, held by On Target Education Training. All right. Okay. Uh, I'm really happy that finally after last year, On Target also held the workshop. So this year is the first time, Mr. Sandy, right, that we hold the workshop. This is the first time in this year, 2024. Okay. All right, everybody, all the participants, I'd like to welcome all of you, all the participants. Thanks a lot for attending this workshop. Okay. And perhaps I'd like to greet the, there are, okay, some participants are joining, Alhamdulillah. And if you can hear me right there, the participants I'd like to greet, perhaps. Could you please, everybody, uh, type in a chat? I want to know, where are you? Okay, perhaps somebody or some participants are from a place that is quite far away from uh, Bandung, maybe from Papua. I don't know. Okay, maybe you can type in a chat. Where are you from? To introduce yourself, and then I'd like to remind you, all the participants, uh, before we start our today's discussion, today's workshop here. Everybody, could you please click the link, the attendance list, and perhaps I'd like to put the link in the chat here. Okay, wait a second. Okay, I'd like to copy and paste in the chat right here. Okay, right there in the chat. Perhaps all the participants can see the link right there. There's the attendance list. So could you please fill in the blanks right there? Okay. Okay. Somebody here is typing. Okay. Ibu Nina. Okay. Can I call you Bu Nina or Miss Nina? Okay. Perhaps Miss Nina. Miss Nina Fatima. Okay. She's from Bandung. Welcome to the workshop where we can learn together here from Bandung. And then perhaps other participants serta yang lain mungkin silahkan, semoga berkenan untuk kira-kira dari mana nih kita kenalan gitu ya, kita berkenalan, kita belajar sama-sama di sini. Okay. All right. Mr. Sandy, perhaps I'd like to ask you, okay, should we wait for other participants to join us, or is it okay for me to read the short bio from you as the owner of On Target Education Training right now?
Yes, sure. Let's get started.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mister. Okay, but okay, and then Mr. Ivan, Pak Ivan, and then Miss Adinda. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong in pronouncing your name, Miss Nina, and then Mr. Ivan, as I said before. Okay, Miss Adinda, and then Mr. Septian. Welcome to the workshop here.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, you're very welcome. Okay. Okay, all the participants by saying Basmalah, if excuse me, Pak Septian, yeah, Maybe you want to ask a question. All right. You may type in the chat box if you have questions, because I'm going to open the discussion right now. So everybody, okay, let's pray, I guess, before we start our discussion, our workshop. If you're Muslim, okay, you may say Basmalah. Okay. Okay, everybody, I guess it's high time for us to open the workshop here. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself first, okay? As the MC of this workshop, my name is Indra. I'm a teacher at SMPN 30 Bandung, and also a teacher in on Target Education Training. Okay, nice to meet you, everybody. And I'd like to introduce you to today's keynote speaker, okay, Mr. Sandi. Okay, could you wait for a moment? All right. Okay. Okay, here it is. Please allow me to read Mr. Sandi's bio notes here. Okay, Mr. Sandi Adri Prakasa. Okay, his educational background, he graduated from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia in 2005, Bachelor of Literature, major in English Literature. And then let's move on to his working experience. Mr. Sandi is currently working as a teacher of on Target Education Training, and also the founder of on Target Education Training. And then Mr. Sandi was, wait a second. Okay. Mr. Sandi was the teacher at International Language Program, or ILP, in Bandung. And then also he was a teacher at EEP Language Training Center Bandung. Mr. Sandi is also the was also the principal at GET, or Global Edu Training. Okay, and yep, perhaps those are some working experience from today's keynote speaker, Mr. Sandi Adri Prakasa. And then besides that, I'm going to read for you all the company profile of this on Target Education and Training. Okay, all right. A little bit about this this course. Okay, on Target is a service provider for home private classes, extracurricular activities, and in-house trainings for professionals. On Target has been established since 2019 in Bandung and has given numerous services for private classes, extracurricular activities, and English trainings for teachers. Okay, those are the introduction of today's keynote speaker, and also the company profile of On Target. All right, I guess those that is the introduction, and then the next part, everybody, I'd like to to give you the information about the main session of this workshop would be around 40 until an hour. And then at the end, after the presentation, we have around 20 minutes, 10 until 20 minutes, I mean, if you have questions. So while Mr. Sandi is presenting his presentation, if you have any questions, you may write in the chat. And after Mr. Sandi finishes the presentation, I would try to read some of the questions, and hopefully Mr. Sandi could answer all the questions. Okay. All right, Mr. Sandy, perhaps that is all the introduction. So are you ready to present the presentation this afternoon?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Indra, and thank you everyone for participating in this session. Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of the methods in teaching English, which is called the PPP, and hopefully that we can learn together, and we have a fruitful workshop today. And just like Mr. Indra said, that if you have any questions, do not hesitate to chat. Um, yeah, to write in the chat box. All right. So I think let's get started. Okay.
Okay, if you are ready, the screen and the microphone is yours. Okay.
All right. Is the screen showing?
It's showing me, sir.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So yes, the topic for today's workshop is teaching English in context using PPP method. Okay, so basically the context, which means that we create a situation, we create a context in which the language that we are going to introduce to the students are related with their daily life, with the fact in their surroundings, and how if they are in that situation, what language can they use. That's the general idea of this um, workshop. Okay, so through PPP method, how is the learning method, and we are going to try to learn the stages. Okay. All right, before we go to the to find out what the PPP method is, so I have some words here, and let's try to find out the meaning of them. Okay, I have some words like prompts, target language, elicitation, warmer, drilling, and PPP. So, and then I will show you the definition, and then let's try to decide. Okay, you choose which the definition matches with what words. Okay, so you may chat or you may unmute yourself to guess. Okay, the first one, presentation, practice, and production. What is it? Yes, I think it's quite obvious. Yeah,
Okay.
practice.
Everyone, if you
Uh,
have the answer, you may type in the chat box, perhaps.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you. Adinda.
All right. PPP, it's quite obvious. All right, very good. Thank you. And the next one, the language that learners are studying. This is the definition of
language.
The language that learners are studying. Is it prompt, target language? Yes. Elicitation, warm-up,
Target language.
target language.
Target.
Target language. All right, correct. Next one, an activity at the start of the class to warm up the learners. To warm up the learners. What is it?
Yeah. It should be warmer, right?
Warmer, correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And then repetition by students of a model given by the teacher. Repetition by students.
Drilling.
Drilling, correct. And then a technique by which the teacher gets the learners to give information rather than giving it to them.
Is it prompt?
Try again. Try again.
Elicitation. I know
Elicitation,
the
that's it.
definition of elicitation.
Yes, elicitation. Correct. Okay, very. Now, the last one. The short hints or questions created to activate the knowledge. Okay, all words have been mentioned. And
It should be printed.
okay, it's prompts. Prompts, short hints. Okay, so those are some introductions of the terms that will appear in our workshop today in PPP. Okay, now let's begin. PPP stands for presentation, practice, and production. So this method can be used to teach grammar and other language expressions. Not only grammar, yeah, but other language expressions. Just like when you want to explain about the expressions of likes and dislikes, like do you like, does he like, or prohibition, like you must, you mustn't, you have to, any other language expressions. And also to teach grammar like present tenses, past tenses, any tenses. And this PPP, this method, yeah, I have been using this PPP method for around 16 years. And so far, yeah, for me, it's been effective. It's an effective way to introduce the students to the new language and to practice the new language in and apply them into their daily life. Okay, so far it's been an effective method for me to teach the students using this method. However, some might have thought about there are minus of it. Yeah, of course there are minus and pluses of the methods. It depends on how we deliver the lesson. All right. Now, in general, there are three stages. The first one is the presentation, in which focuses on the context. We try to create the situation in which the structure or the target language is used in that context, in that situation. And then the second is practice. In this practice stage, is focusing more on accuracy. We try to give students some examples and let them drill, yeah, or practice. Okay. So if there are some mistakes, we can correct them. And then the third one, the last stage, is the production, which focuses on the fluency. We give the students more freedom to speak up using the language that they have learned, or with the language that they have already got. So these three stages representing or involve the context, accuracy, and fluency. Okay, so if we put the stages of the PPP here into a picture, it's gonna be like this, like a triangle, like a triangle. Okay, so here there are three stages: the presentation, practice, and production. Okay. All right. So yes. Okay. So, and then we have here the red arrow pointing down. It's linguistic control decreases. Okay. So this triangle represents the structure of the lesson. Okay. It is very structured at the beginning, but it's very free at the end. So the larger the shape is, the freer the activity is. And then the arrow, it's linguistic control. Yeah, so it means that the teacher's control over the language, the teacher's control over the language used by the students decreases. So it means that the more bigger space in the triangle, the bigger space in the triangle, the lesser control that the teacher gives to the students in using the language that they are learning. And then the linguistic control decreases in order to allow the students, not only to learn the language, but also to be able to use them fluently. So it's giving the students a more freer activity, freer practice to apply the language. Okay. At the beginning of the lesson, the teacher is the controller. And then halfway through the lesson, the teacher provides the context. And then at the end of the lesson, the teacher acts as a source and a prompt and also a facilitator. Okay. Other skills, just like reading, listening, writing, can be incorporated as further practice in those stages. Okay, so it can be incorporated. Okay, so again, in the presentation stage, the students are introduced to the new language. So we give the students some situation or context, and we introduce them to the structure or to the language in which that language is used in that situation or in that context. In practice, okay, as I have mentioned earlier, so this is a more controlled way when the students are given some opportunity to practice. Here, when the students practice, we try to monitor, and then if there are some errors, we try to correct them. So when they have learned the correction, so it is hoped that in the third stage, the students are able to apply the language as fluently as possible and as naturally as possible. Okay, so it's more to freer activity. Okay, now let's move on to the presentation stage. Yes. Yes. Okay. So in this presentation stage, as it is mentioned earlier in the previous slide, that the students are introduced to the new language through meaningful context or situation. Okay. And then what is the aim of this presentation stage? Okay, here the aim is we try to ensure the students to understand the context and get them thinking about it, which means we give them numbers of elicitation. We give the situation or the context to the students. Let them imagine, let them understand the context of the situation. Okay, in which the situation or the context that we give the students has to be as real as possible, logical as possible, because the aim of teaching the students the language is to motivate them when they find the situation, when they are in this context, when they are in the situation in their real life, they know what language that they will use. So we try to give them the situation or the context as real and as logical as possible. Okay, and the methods of this presentation can be using audios, visuals, or alias. Yes, we bring real life object, like for example, the topic is about basketball, about hobby. The students can bring some some objects that has something to do with their hobbies. Like basketball, they bring a basketball, and then if their hobby is cooking, they can bring like a wok or stoves or anything that has something to do with hobbies. For example, those are realias. And for the presentation itself, using audios, we can use listening or listening dialogue or music, for example. Yes, there are many ways. However, today I'm going to share with you presentation using visual, using pictures. Okay. So there are many ways of delivering this presentation. Okay. Okay. Now talking about approaches, there are some ways, some approaches that the first one, like the teacher could give learners the rules and example, just like that. Okay, the teacher give learner the rules and examples, and then the students, okay, this is the rules and this is the teacher, which is called a deductive approach. And then the second approach is that the teacher sets out a meaningful context, give examples to the students of the new language, by guiding them and making them think, and let them try to find out or to figure out the rules. Okay, so it's called inductive approach. For the first approach, it's more teacher-centered. Yeah, so the teacher gives the material, give the language, give the rules, give the example. It's more to teacher-centered. So the students just have to pay attention to the teacher. It saves time. Yes, it is. It saves time. And however, it is good for low levels. Okay, it's good for low level. Just give them the examples or the rules, something like that. Okay. Okay. Wait. All right. Now, for the next approach is, for the inductive approach, is learner-centered. So we focus on the student. We focus on the students. Yes, it takes longer time. However, it has advantages in committing better memory to the students, because we involve the students in thinking, in eliciting, in questioning the students. We try to ensure that the students understand the context, so we make them think. So the students or the learners can have better memory on this. Okay, so we focus on the students. Okay. Now there is a catchphrase in PPP that we minimize TTT, or teachers talking time, and maximize STT, students talking time. Okay. Minimize TTT, maximize STT. All right. Okay. Now, after this, we're going to see, I'm going to give you a simple simulation about the PPP method. Okay, before we go through that, so let's try to so I'd like to introduce you to some terms, and I believe some of you have learned and have understood the terms that I'm about to give you, about to introduce you. The first one is warmer. So I think it's quite familiar. Yeah, it's a fun activity to warm up the class. So before we start the class, we try to engage the student. Okay, we try to warm them up. And the games, yeah, I would recommend that the game is reviewing the last lesson, the previous lesson, or the game that has something to do with the lesson that they are going to learn today. So it can be reviewing to the previous lesson or related with the lesson that they are going to learn. Okay. And then second one is pre-teach vocabulary. So before we give them the context, before we give the students the context or the situations or the elicitation, we introduce some of the vocabularies in order to familiarize the students with the vocabulary. So when we try to give the students the context, or there are some words that unfamiliar with the students and we try to avoid it. Okay, we try to avoid that. So instead, before we give them the context, before we give the students the situation, we try to give them the words that you think it's unfamiliar to the students. So when we explain the situation, when we explain the context, the students have already understood the meaning. Yeah. So they won't ask again like that. And then lead-in questions, which means it's similar with bridging questions. Before we go to the context, before we go to the situation, we try to give them some lead-in questions as a bridge. So we just not to get into the context directly, just like that. We slowly we give them some bridging before we get through the main explanation by giving them the context or the situation. Yeah. And then the scene setting. Now here, scene setting is the context or situation in which the TL is used. So we give the students some situation, we give them some context, in which in that context, in that situation, what language do you use? Okay, for example, in general, the situation is, the context is, when the father, when the son asks permission to the father to go to a concert. Okay, so how does the son ask permission to the father? So the situation is the son wants to ask permission to the father, and then we try to trigger the students. We try to elicit the students. What do you think the son will say to the father? Okay, so that's the target language or the scene setting, in which in creating the scene setting, there are some aspects that we need to pay attention about the who are in the situation, who are speaking, who are in the situation, and what do they do, what are they doing, what situation, when, the time, yeah, where, the location, that in that situation, where does it take place, why, and how does that conversation, how that situation appear. Okay, try to insert some of the aspects. It's like who, what, when, where, why, how. Try to make it as real as and as logical as possible. And then elicit the students, elicitation. So we give some questions to the students and then let them try to think. We trigger them to speak up. We trigger them to speak up, because that's the main idea of teaching English, because we want the students to be able to apply the language in their daily life, in their real life. Okay, we try to give opportunity to students to speak up and to think, yeah, especially in the language that they are going to learn. Okay, and then the concept checking. So the concept checking, we try to ensure the students how far they have understood the concept, how far they have understood the structure, the sentence. Yeah, so because when we teach grammar, it's not enough by just giving them some sentences and then the students are able to speak up, and then the students are able to complete the sentence. So we must ensure that the students knows what they are learning, knows what they are talking about, knows what what is behind the sentence that they are using. And then drilling or practice, yeah, the repetitions from the students. So the teacher gives some examples, some prompts, so the students drill and or practice the sentences. It can be done individually or chorally. And then the whiteboard consolidation. Okay, this is essential for the teacher on how to break down the structures, on how to organize the structures, and then how to write the structures or the target language on the whiteboard as clearly as possible. Okay, later we'll soon learn about that. And then the roundup question. So after giving the students the context, the situations, and then we ask students some roundup questions, which consists of open-ended questions or personalization questions related with the scene setting. Extended drilling is a further practice, further target language drilling using prompts. Okay, so those are some terms in the lesson plan, and right now I'm going to share you on the PPP method that I've been using for the last 16 years. And okay, you may call it as a simulation. And let's say that I'm the teacher and all of you are the students. Okay, you are, let's say, you can say like a junior high school students or senior high school students. Okay, so let's try to simulate this. Okay, so if you have something to say, or if you have something to uh, to ask from to me as a teacher, okay, you may unmute yourself and let's just imagine that this is a real class. Okay, all right. Yes, Mr. Indra, you can also join the class.
Okay, sure, thank you.
All right, so okay, so here we go. Okay, after some warming up, yeah, we let's consider the warm up done. Okay, so we start our lesson. All right, students, I have some words here, and let's see. Are you familiar with these words? Like suspect. Okay, everybody says suspect.
Suspect.
Suspect. Okay, what is suspect? Anybody know? Okay, if you don't know, you may yeah, it's okay. But if you know, maybe in Bahasa, it's okay. Suspect. What is suspect?
Okay, maybe other participants, if you want the answer, you may type in the chat box, or if you want to try to answer, you can unmute your voice. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, just what is suspect? Okay. You don't know? Okay, maybe it's okay. Yeah. Let's consider that these are the words that are unfamiliar to the students. Yeah, it's okay. So suspect is you know, in Bahasa is tersangka, you know, in a crime. Yeah, tersangka. And then crime. What is crime? Crime
Is criminal.
Yeah,
Criminalitas.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yes, Pak Ivan.
Pak Ivan, thank you, Pak Ivan,
Very
thank you.
good. Yes, kriminalitas. Yes, in English, crime. Because you know, in English we don't have criminality. Yeah. It's only
Criminality,
crime.
there's no word criminality, sir, yeah?
It's not criminality. It's
Yeah,
English, yeah.
crime.
But in English we say crime. Yes, kejahatan, kriminalitas. All right, crime. And then investigate, you know, investigate. Yeah. What is investigate? Or when the police ask some questions to the criminal or
Questioning.
questioning, yes, okay. Or in Bahasa you may have heard about investigasi, yeah. Okay, and then host. What is host? You know host? Anybody? Yeah.
Tuan rumah, sir, yeah.
Tuan rumah. Yeah.
MC.
Yes. When yeah, you are the owner of the house, and then somebody comes or visits your house, you are the host, gitu ya. Host in bahasa tuan rumah. And then guest. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, let's skip that. Valuable. Okay, yes. Blah 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 blah. Okay, consider it done. Okay, so now you have. Okay, now let's review suspect. Can you say it again? What is suspect? Okay, and then what is crime? What is investigate? What is host, guest, valuable? Okay, now you have learned the meaning of the words, right? Okay, now I have okay, talking about crime. Talking about crime. Uh, has there been any crime happened in your neighborhood, in your area? Okay, Mr. Indra, has there been any crime happened in your neighborhood?
Okay, me first, sir.
Yes.
What about other students, sir? I
Uh,
wanted to.
okay. You want to pass it on to the other students? Okay. All right. All right. All right. No problem.
Let's give other participants maybe
Okay.
wanna.
So maybe Mr. Ivan, Pak Ivan, has
Oh,
there been any crime happened in your neighborhood?
my neighborhood and my neighbor got lost his motorcycle. So
Okay.
someone stolen it.
Okay. All right. So there were crimes happened. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And then so if a crime happens, what do the police do? Anybody can answer? What do the police do when a crime happens? Okay. How about Ibu Nina? Do you have any thought of it? If a crime happens, what do the police do usually?
Investigate. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right. Okay.
Investigate.
Investigate.
All right. Investigate. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Bunina answer. Arrest.
Arrest.
Arrest the
Okay.
suspect.
Arrest the suspect. Okay. All right. Very good. Now, okay. Okay. So good answer. Now, I have a situation here. So last night, there was a party at 9 p.m. Okay. There was a party at 9 p.m. last night. So the host, her name is Annie. Her full name is Annie Mall. Yeah. Annie Mall.
Animal, sir. Yeah.
Yes, Animal is the host of the party. And during the party last night, she lost her, what is it? What picture is it?
Diamond, sir.
Diamond, yes. Is it valuable?
Sir.
Yes, valuable. Yeah. So Animal lost her diamond during the party last night. Yeah. So Annie calls a police officer to come, and then a police officer comes to Annie's house. Okay, there comes the police. His name is Joe. His full name is Rock. So Joe Rock is the police officer.
Smells bad.
Joe Rock is the police officer, and
Okay.
okay, he comes to the scene and then he tries to investigate to find some clues. So he interviews Annie, and there is another suspect. His name is John. His full name is John Thor. He's a guest and also a suspect. Yeah. So Joe interviews some of the guests there, and the first one he tried to interview is John Thor. Okay, so Joe. Okay, Joe wants to know if Annie. So he asked Annie first. So Joe wants to know if Annie was talking to John at 9 p.m. last night. How does he ask Annie? Anybody can try? How does Joe ask Annie? Joe wants to know if Annie was talking to John at 9 p.m. last night. How is the question? Anybody? Apakah kamu tadi malam sedang berbicara dengan gitu. So come on, anybody? Anybody can try?
How
Miss Nina. Okay.
you lose it?
What did you last night, Annie? Okay, all right. Okay, good. Try again. Try again. That's good. But try again. Okay, at the specific time at 9 p.m. last night. Joe
Specific
wants
time,
to
sir,
know. Yes, Joe wants to know if Annie was in the middle of talking to John at 9
Oh,
p.m. last night.
all right. Yeah. Were you talking to John
Were
at 9
you talking?
p.m. last night? Maybe, sir?
Yes, correct.
Oh,
Were you talking to John last p.m. last night? And then Annie answers. How does she answer? Were you talking to John at 9 p.m. last night? How does Annie answers? Yes.
thank you, Miss
No.
Nina. No.
Okay, no. Okay. Can you make more complete sentence? No. Were you talking to John? No. I
No, I wasn't.
wasn't. Yes.
Yes.
No,
My
I
goodness.
wasn't. Okay. All right. Very good. No, I wasn't. So, okay. And then another question. Joe asked Annie. Joe wants to know. Joe wants to know if Annie was doing something, was in the middle of doing something at 9 p.m. last night. How does Joe ask Annie? Anybody?
What
What
were you doing?
were you doing? Yes. What were you doing at 9 p.m. last night? Okay, everybody, let's repeat the question. What is it? What
What
were
were
you
you
doing
doing
at 9
at 9
p.m.
p.m.
last night? Yes.
night.
Very good. Yes. And then Annie answers, what were you doing at 9 p.m. last night? Annie answers, I
Was
was
preparing
for some food.
for
Okay.
some food.
Now, everybody, can you say the sentence again? Okay. I was
Was
preparing some food.
some food.
Preparing for some food. Okay. And then Joe turns to John. Okay. He asks some questions to John. So Joe wants to know if John was talking to Annie at 9 p.m. last night. How is the question? How does Joe ask?
The same formula, the same structure, sir.
Same. Yes, the same. Were you
talking
to Annie?
to Annie? Were you
Yes.
talking to Annie?
Were you talking to Annie at 9 p.m. last night? So John says, yes.
Yes.
So it means, yes,
I was
I
talking.
was. Yes, I was. All right. Yes,
I was.
I was. Okay.
Enough. I say yes, I was. Or
Yes.
should we complete the sentence? Yes, I was
Yes.
talking to Annie.
Yes.
Mr. Sandy.
Yes, it's enough by saying yes, I was. But it's also fine if we say it in complete sentence. Okay. So and then Joe asked one more question to John. So Joe wants to know, what was Annie doing before John talked to Annie? So Annie was in the middle of doing what before you talk to Annie? Apa yang sedang Annie lakukan sebelum kamu bicara kepada Annie? Okay, anybody? What was she doing? What was she doing before you talk to Annie? And then, how does John answer? She was sitting alone on the sofa. Okay, she was sitting alone on the sofa. Okay, very good. Now let's try to repeat one more time. The first question, how is the question? Okay, everybody, were
Were
you
talking
talking to John
to
at
John.
9 p.m. last night? And then how does Annie answer?
No, I
No,
wasn't.
we didn't.
Wasn't. Okay, and then the second question. What
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 were
What were you doing
doing at
at 9
9
p.m.
p.m.
last?
last night? Okay, I was preparing some food. Okay, now let's repeat the third question and the fourth question. Okay, consider it done. Okay, so okay. And now what we are learning today is this. Okay, today, okay, we're learning about past continuous. It means like ongoing activities at specific time in the past. So we're talking about uh, at specific time in the past, and then you were in the middle of doing what? Okay. Okay, just like this. What were you doing at 9 p.m. last night? I was preparing for some food. Were you talking to John at 9 p.m.? Yes, I was. Nice. So these are the structures. Okay. Okay, now I'd like everybody to say the and to read out loud. Okay, the first one. What were
were
you
you
doing
doing
at
Were you
at
doing
9
9
p.m.
p.m.
last
last
night?
night?
What were
What were
they
what
they doing
doing at
at
9
9
p.m.
p.m.
last night?
last night?
Okay, I was
I was
preparing
preparing
some food.
for some food, preparing some
Okay.
food. Yeah.
Were you talking to
Were
John
you talking to
at
John
9
at
p.m.?
9 p.m.?
Yes, I
Yes,
was.
I was.
If no, no, I wasn't.
I
Okay.
know I wasn't.
Uh, jadi so we okay, the students read the structures correctly, and then we try to break down. Yeah, break
So
down.
not only just writing down on the whiteboard, but we have to invite the students to read together the
Yes,
the
yes,
pattern or the sentences like
yes,
that,
that's
sir.
correct. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. So we introduce the students to some of the terms like was were. What is what was were is like to be like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, uh, Annie said that I was preparing for some food at 9 p.m. last night. Was she in the middle of doing that or just finished?
Could you repeat again, sir?
Yeah.
The sentence?
If
Which
okay.
one?
Annie said that I was preparing for some food
Yeah.
okay, at 9 p.m. last night. Was she in the middle of doing that or just finished or stopped?
Oh, in the middle, sir.
In the
In the
middle
middle.
of doing it. Yes, in the
Yes, in the
middle.
middle.
Or in bahasa sedang dilakukan ya.
Dang, yeah. Yeah.
Sedang dilakukan. All right. And then can I say, okay, for the positive sentence, okay, in the middle, yes. Can I say like this? I was prepared for some food at 9 p.m. last night. Can we say that? I was prepared for some food. Can we say that?
No, sir.
Okay, because the structure, okay, after to be, we use verb ing in this past
Ing.
continuous tense. Yeah.
ING after
Okay.
the verb. Yeah.
All right. Now, okay. So I have a question for you guys. And let's go back to John. Do you think John is the thief? Do you think John took the diamond? What do you think?
we don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Okay. Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, all right. And okay, have you ever lost anything valuable? Like something that is very valuable to you and somebody took it or you lost it?
Yes,
What is it, Raifan? What was it?
motorcycle.
Your motorcycle.
Oh,
Okay. And then what happened next? After that, what did you do?
I reported to the police.
All right. Okay. And Bunina lost her money. Okay. Okay. Was it a lot, Bunina? Okay. Yes, lost the money. Okay. All right. Now, okay. Now let's have more practice. So Joe asked another questions to the guests. So he asked the guest some questions because he needs to find some clues. Okay, who might stole the diamond? So he asked another guest. So okay, can you say, okay, what is the question?
What were you doing
Okay, what were you doing at
at
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
last
last
night?
night?
Okay, everybody, one more time. What were
What
you
were you
Were
doing
you
doing
doing
at
at
9
at
9
9 p.m. last
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 night?
night? Okay, and then the answer is I
was playing
playing
cards
cards
with
with
my
my
friends.
friends. Okay. And then Joe asked another question. What was she doing? Okay, sorry. Everybody, what was she doing at 9 p.m. last night? Okay. Jadi ini di drill ya ke students ya masing-masing. Bagaimana mereka bisa menggunakan strukturnya berdasarkan apa yang dipelajari tadi. Okay. And yeah, what were they doing? They were dancing. Okay, it's like that. So we give them the structures, we give them the prompts, yeah,
Yeah,
and then let the students figure out the sentence, the structure, because they are still thinking in the context, okay, like that. And we can also give the drilling to the students by like asking them individually, like, okay, for example, Ibu Adinda, do you remember at 7 o'clock this morning you were in the middle of doing what? You were in the middle, yeah.
Okay, would you repeat the question?
Okay. Okay, Bu Adinda, do you remember at 7 o'clock this morning you were in the middle of doing what?
In the morning, I'm on my way to go to the Harris Hotel for joining a workshop.
Okay, yeah. So we tried that's we tried to put into the past continuous. I was
and
Yeah.
going my
driving.
way. Ah, all right, good. Yeah. Okay, so gitu. Okay. Now,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
I'm really sorry for interrupting a little bit here. In my perception, right here is that one of the most interesting part of this method is what is it? Giving the student a context,
Yes.
and in this case, is all about the crime. And in my opinion, the students surely will what is it? Will be curious about the finding out who is the criminal.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, in this story, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm.
so we should finish the story until we can find out who's the real criminal.
Yes.
Is that true? In my opinion, it
Okay.
will be like that.
So, all right. So if the teacher wants to make it more interesting, yeah, during or in the practice stage, in the next stage,
Yeah.
the teacher can create can create like another activity, like for example by giving them some what is it, flashcards or some cue cards or some dialogues, okay, related with the context, so the teacher can create the continuation of the context from the presentation stage. So it depends on the teacher's creativity if you want to make it more interesting or challenging.
Yeah.
Okay, or yeah, something like that. Because if like it is cut off, I mean, if it's cut off by the presentation stage, okay, the students might be, some of the students might be curious. Who is the real thief? Some
Mm.
of them just, okay, never mind. It's just a context. Yeah, yeah, there are some of those possibilities. So you can try to create more challenging activities. Okay. Thank you for the question, Mr. Kinda. Now, okay. So moving along, I'd like to share the lesson plan about this, and then let's try to review the simulation that we did during the presentation. Okay, is the screen showing? Yeah.
It's showing, sure.
Okay. All right, great. Now, we have like I skipped the warmer parts. Okay, and then this is the lesson that I or the target language that the students are learning. Yeah, and then I write down the structures and sentences, and then the meaning, the situation. I mean, the tense or the materials that we are that the teacher is going to introduce to the students, and then the use is the context, police officer in general. Yeah, and then the pre-teach vocab to familiarize the students with the words, suspect, crime, criminal. Okay, pre-teach vocabulary. Did I give the pre-teach vocabulary?
You did.
Yes.
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 Okay. And then moving on to the teaching procedures, the lead-in questions. Okay, I asked the question. Did I do the lead-in questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Did I explain about, or did I tell about this the scene setting or the situation?
Yes.
Yes. Did I elicit the language? Joe wants to know if Annie was talking to John. How does he answer? How does the Annie answer?
Yes.
Okay. And then the concept checking. I was sitting in the lounge, for example, like that. Was he in the middle of doing that at that specific time in the past?
Yes.
Did he? So this is the concept. So the concept checking. The students understood the concept. The sentence that they are using, they know the meaning. They know in what situation that sentence is used. Okay. Now, I was preparing for some food. Can we say I was prepared?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was preparing. Supposed to be I was preparing. So this is the concept checking on structures. Yeah, the first one, concept checking on the concept or the meaning. The second one is the concept checking for the structure. You can try to make some sentences and then ask the students or check the students if they have understood the concept. Okay, we try to make sure of this. Yeah. Jadi ini yang kita tekankan. Apa siswa paham gitu kan ketika ini kalimat ini maksudnya apa gitu, dalam situasi apa, kapan diucapkan, itu yang kita tekan. That's what we highlight. And then the drilling, when I repeat the questions of Joe asking Annie or asking John, did I do the drilling?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay, and then in whiteboard consolidation, I break down the structures. What were you doing? Yes, I gave the students this one. And then the roundup questions. Do you think John is the thief? Have you ever lost something valuable? Did I do this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then extended drilling. Yeah. So the police officer John is asking the other guests of the party by showing some pictures and prompts. Yeah. If in the classroom, you may use the PowerPoint. It's easier, and or if not, if for example there is no projector, you might use paper, right? Piece of paper for using the prompts. Just write down manually like that. Okay, extended drilling. So did I extend the drilling? Did I do this part? Yeah.
You did.
All right. Okay, so that's the presentation stage. Okay, that's the presentation stage, giving the students the context and introducing them to the new language expressions or the structures. Okay. Okay. Before we continue to the next stage, is there any question so far? Maybe one question or two.
Okay. We all participants right here. There are 8 participants. I'd like to remind you again, if you have any answers, please don't hesitate to write down, to type, or to write in the chat.
Can
One
I?
question for this? Yeah. Okay. Ivan, yes, sir.
Thank you, the moderator. I would like to ask you a question. Considering about teacher speaking time, yeah. Do you
Yes.
think that using PPP is dominated by the teachers to speak a lot?
Okay. All right.
Just like what you have presented.
Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Pak Ivan. Well, okay. Let me share you the screen again about the triangle. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. So during the presentation, when the students are introduced to the new language, okay. So at the top of the triangle, okay, this is when the teacher controls the most. Okay. However, we try to make it balance, like just like giving some elicitation or giving the students a chance to answer the lead-in questions, and or the giving the chance to for the students to answer the roundup question. Okay, we control. Okay, we uh the linguistic control, and still big. Okay, like for the teachers. Okay, however, we still give some opportunities for the students to speak up. Okay, we ask questions. Okay, in the simulation, okay, you might see that I speak more. Okay, however, in real life, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different when you try to give the opportunity for the students to talk. Okay, just give them as much time as possible for them to think or to talk. Okay. Okay, coming down to the practice, as I have mentioned before, that during the practice and production, the teacher talking time decreases.
Question.
The teacher only becomes the facilitator, guiding them. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to practice. This is the situation. Okay, so give the students opportunity to practice and to use the target language that they have learned. So the teacher only just watching the students, controlling only only once or twice to see if they make any errors. Okay, or at the end of the practice, at the end of the activity, the students give some corrections. Okay, during the practice or during the production, the teacher becomes only the facilitator, only what is it? Just only guiding them, telling them what they need to do during the practice. So the rest, yeah, at first the teacher still holding the classroom in talking time. Okay, so during the practice and the production, the teacher just leave the students to speak up. However, they just monitor and give corrections if it's necessary. Okay. Okay. Pak Ivan, I hope that answers.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So the teacher counter is decreasing, yeah, in practice stage and production stage.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Mr. Sandeep. There is still one more question.
One more
right
question.
here. It's from Ibu Nina. Please allow me to read the questions. Ibu Nina asked a question. To make it more student-centered, is it possible to ask the students to formulate the rules instead of giving it directly?
Yes.
Yeah, make it a
Okay.
group or
Yes.
fair work. What about that, sir?
Yes. All right, Ibu Nina, thank you for the questions. That's a good question. Yes, it's very possible because in teaching, there are some methods in teaching. So the higher the level is, so we can be more. We can use another method of teaching. So the one that I showed you is it's like giving some breakdown of the structures. Okay, in the presentation stage. Okay, there are some ways in some methods in presentation stage. Okay, for this one, I just shared with you the presentation using visuals, yeah, using context. There is also presentation using listening or audio. It can be through dialogues. It can be through music. It can be through like what is it? A movie or a clip. Yeah. So, and then using realias. Okay, bringing the object. Okay. So it's very, yeah, it depends on the level of the students. It depends on level of the student. So if we are doing this to a relatively middle or low level, yes, just like I have shared with you, we can do this, the approaches, yeah, teacher-centered, we can use for low levels. However, when it's for high levels, we can try to do another approach using another method and then let the students figure out the structures. Okay. So it depends on the students level and then the method that we use. Okay. So actually, to be honest with you, for this presentation, for this PPP method, that yeah, I've been planning to have another workshop on this PPP method, especially in the presentation stage, not only just sharing with you with this approach, yeah, using pictures and context. Yeah, I've been planning to make another workshop on PPP presentation using listening or audios and presentation using what is it, music and another approaches. So we can see the difference and we can try to apply the approaches. Okay, I hope that answers, Ibu Nina. And yeah, okay, I think, Ms. Rinda, we have 15 minutes left to go, and we have I'm gonna be quick with another stage. You're welcome, Ibu Nina. I'm gonna be very quick with the next stage of this PPP. Yes. Okay. The next stage is the practice. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Before we move on to the practice, so actually this is the another simulation that we are going to what is it to have, like, okay, maybe it's a homework for you. If the target language is like this, Asian birthdays, asking about how old are you, daily routines, using present simple tense, what do you do, every, how to create the situation, how is the scene setting. So how is the scene setting? Okay, maybe it's a homework for you. Okay, try to create the scene setting of this, create the situation in which these language expressions are used. Okay, okay, that's a homework. Okay, so the next stage is the practice. Okay, so during the practice, as I have introduced you in the previous slide, that in this part, the students are given some opportunity to practice in a controlled way. It means that the teacher still give control, see and monitor if they make any errors. We can try to correct them directly like that. Okay, but again, we try to give them freedom and confidence. So we don't try to control them in such way so strictly. No, we just let them free, but we just walk around and monitor, let them talk. And then, like, the aim is error correction. Yeah, okay, and the procedure is that teacher monitors students closely. Okay, and it is hoped that the students are able to do self-correction based on the target language or the structures that they have learned. It is hoped that students, yeah, if they have understood the concept checking, it is hoped that the students can do the self-correction when they, like, say, I was prepared some food, I was preparing, you might find that self-correction. Yeah, it is very yeah, we should appreciate the students who do this, who do the self-corrections. Okay, so the corrections can be done during or after the activity. Okay, so yeah, like personal, like when they are working in partners, when they are working in pairs. So when we monitor and then we find errors to them, and then we can do correction at that time, or we can just leave them and then we do the corrections after the activity. Okay, and then the activities of this practice can be done by drilling sentences or sounds quarterly or individually, just like the extended drilling. Yeah, in extended drilling, just like that, we make new sentences. Okay, we can ask the students personally, one by one, depending on the structures or the target language. Okay, pairing them and work them in pairs, or sentence matching activities, class surveys, let them walk around and ask some questions, and then gap fill exercises. Yeah, there are some rules. And then, yeah, pair work, listening practice. It can be part of the activities that incorporated in the practice stage. Okay, so these are some examples that I made for the students when we talk about present continuous for future meanings. So student A and student B, I put the students into pairs. And then it is highly recommended that when we do the practice, there must be aim or objectives. So when I make this pair work, I give the students a time for discussion. They have to discuss after they have completed the gap. After they have completed the gap, they have the answers on their papers, and then we give them questions. When is he having a bit relaxing time, or what activity? It's like this. So they will look at the paper and then they will discuss. Okay, talking about the busy director, and then what time do you think he will have a freer time or a bit relaxing time? And then, or you can make like this, a class survey, when, for example, the language expressions that are learned is about likes and dislikes, like, do you like does he like, does she like, or talking about, yeah, food. And then after they have completed, yeah, we ask them who has the most likes or dislikes. So we need to have aims for that. Or still about like this, yeah, pair work. We give them example of the sentence. When talk about present perfect continuous, give them some samples of the sentence and then let them try to create more question. Student A, and then student A asks student B asks student B, take turns in asking questions. Do you play online games? Yes, I do. How long have you been playing online games? I've been playing online games since blah, blah, blah. And then they work in partners, exchanging information. Okay. And then we give them some objectives, some aims, who has been done something the longest, something like that. Okay, now we come to stage 3, the production. Okay, so in the production here, the linguistic control decreases. So the teacher just, yeah, let the students speak up. Okay, let them use the language that they have learned, and the teacher here only helps, yeah, to consolidate, to facilitate the students to what they have learned, what they are doing in this productions. Uh, it's freer than the practice. So in practice stage, we control them. We monitor, and then we correct them at the time. But in here, we give tasks to the students and let them speak. Encourage them to produce the language naturally between the students, that between the structures that they have learned or the knowledge that they have got. Yeah. We the teacher as monitor, as teacher, we just monitor and give feedback to errors of the activity. Okay, at the end of the activity, okay, I heard somebody said this. Okay, one thing about correcting the errors at the end of the activity. Okay, so it's better not to mention the name of the students. It's not like, okay, John, I heard you said this. Okay, is it correct? I'm sorry, but it's, yeah, try to avoid that because it's gonna let the students down. I feel like pressured, something like that. Okay, we just instead we just like, okay, I heard somebody said this, blah blah blah. You write on the whiteboard. What do you think about the sentence? Okay, and then we try to elicit the sentence. Okay, what do you think about this? What about the sentence? Is it correct or incorrect? Okay, let the students answer. Okay, let them, uh, learn or think the concept again. Okay, and the activities for this production stage or freer activity, I used to call it, I always call it freer activity. It can be done by role playing, yeah, interviews, board games. Okay, find someone who collaborative tasks, so they work together and then solve the problems or anything if the task is like that. And then discussion activities, problem solving, speech or presentation, yeah, for the activities. Okay, here's the example of the role play that the task that I gave to my students. So the language focus or the target language that we learned at that time was about present perfect simple using have you blah 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 yet. Yeah. So I gave them, so I put them in groups. I put the students in groups and let them choose which situation that they want to practice, that they want to perform in front of the class. First, the second, and the third. Okay, and then let them, and then give them time to make the concept or the dialogue, and then yeah. But we stick to the time. Like, okay, I give you 5 minutes to choose and to practice or to prepare yourself, and then after that you perform this role play in front of the class. Okay, so here the students are given more opportunity to speak up what they have learned, and then to apply the language as naturally and as fluent as possible. Okay, another situation or another activity that I gave the students is I gave them a task to discuss, in which at the time the language focus or the target language is talking about giving advice using the expressions of you'd better, should or shouldn't, if I were you, I would. So each students were given this piece of paper, one piece of paper, and they are pretending that this is what happened to them. And then they work in groups. They work in groups, and then they read this situation, and then they listen to other students' advice. So the other people, the other students in the group give advice to the student, to that person, and then let them let the students think who gave the best advice to them. Let them have a freer conversation. Or you can give the task like this: find someone who has a sister who loves broccoli, who has flown on a plane. So the students walk around the classroom and ask some of their friends, and write down their names, and then the teacher can decide the statement or aim or the objectives of the activity. Or you can do this board game. It's an interesting game that can be done in groups. So while they are playing, they can practice what they have learned, and then not only practicing, so the students can create follow-up questions. Yeah, the follow-up question, like for example, the students land on 7 o'clock. Okay, and the students say, I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So the other students can give follow-up question like, have you ever been late, like that, or just give them freer activity to talk. Okay, so, or what happened if you wake up late, like that. Give them time, give them opportunity and time to talk. Okay, now to consider about this is try to create a relevant, fun, and interesting yet meaningful activities. So just we cannot just give them some random, we try to make it fun and meaningful for them. Now, just like the answer, we have to choose the practice that's appropriate with the student's level and skill. Okay, so we first pay attention to the level of the students, whether they have low level, medium, or high level and skills, and then this error correction. Yeah, so just like when we in the production, and then in the practice, so the teacher monitors the students, and then find if there are some errors, and then we correct them. Okay, what are the problems or of the learner? Yeah, whether they are shy, whether they don't have confidence. Yeah, the shy students, sometimes it's challenging for us to trigger them, to motivate them to speak up. Yes, not only that, but other things can be crucial. Okay, and an STT is bigger than TTT, students talking time compared to teachers talking time. Okay, all right, I believe that's all the workshop for today. Hopefully the yes, what I have shared with you today is fruitful, and thank you for your attention and participation. Okay, and okay, yeah, you can follow the workshop, sorry, the social medias here, and okay, back to you, Mr. Indra.
Okay, Mr. Sunny, well, in my own perception, in my opinion, what we are doing right now is so productive, right? And then the material that the method that you shared to us is so valuable, right? We can
Thank you.
use, yeah, we can use this method when we go back to our school, or maybe in your own English course, perhaps the
Thank
place
you.
where you teach. Okay, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Mister. And it's 5:30, but Mr. Sandy, if there is still questions, could you please still answer the questions?
Yes, I think we can spare
You
some
still have time?
5 or 10 minutes.
Around 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5
Okay.
until 10 perhaps. So if
Okay,
there are
5
any
until 10
questions
minutes.
or comments,
Okay.
maybe it'd
Okay.
be great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you still have questions, so you may ask the question directly or type in the chat box. We still have around 5 until 10 minutes to go. Okay. From Ibu Nina, Mr. Sandi, it's
Yes.
an interesting question. She asked us that can we use this method, the PPP method, here with young learners too? First grader, specifically,
Yes.
she wrote first grader. Well, okay. What do you think, Mr.?
All right. Yes, very good question, Ibu Nina. So for young learners, yes. Okay. The first thing that I can answer that, yes, we can apply this. However, we need to modify it. We need to modify the scene setting as simple as possible. Yeah. We need to modify it. Depending, just like the things that we need to consider, we need to what is it, pay attention. We need to, yeah, consider the level of the students. So if you want to apply this to young learners, it's possible, but we need to modify it. And then the second one, for young learners, I personally would recommend the another method, which is called ABL, activity-based learning. I have done this workshop last year about activity-based learning, and you may check it out in on Targetr Education Training's YouTube. So yeah, perhaps that answers, Ibu Nina.
Okay, I hope that Mr. Sandi's answer, yeah, can answer Bunina's questions. Yes, perhaps Bunina, it would much better if for the young learners, yeah, first grader, you may choose ABL, Mr. Sandi. ABL.
Yes.
You may check out, and you may have a look at Mr. Sandi's YouTube channel. You can find it down, find it there, right there. Okay, Bunina. Okay, thank you. And then other questions? Any other questions? Okay. Okay. Perhaps I also like to what is it? Conclude maybe.
Yes.
While we are waiting for the questions.
Yes,
we
please.
still have around 4 minutes here.
Yeah.
After listening to Mr. Sandi's presentation, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I have. Okay. All right. Mr. Sandi,
yes,
could you answer that the presentation that you already presented to us, is it, can we call it as an deductive, right? Deductive approach?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Approach. Yeah.
So to make it more student-centered, perhaps we can have another discussion when how to use the inductive approach in this method. What do you think about it, Mr.?
Yes. All right. That's a good idea. So yeah, perhaps we can do that sometimes. Yeah. There are another method that is also like student-centered, just like TBL, task-based learning, in which we have also conducted the workshop for that. And basically, the methods are students-centered. Yeah. Just like this PPP and TBL and ABL that we have conducted. It's basically a student-centered. Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Maybe someday.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. And then the last thing, perhaps, that I'd like to sum up here, that it's really interesting knowing that when we create the scene setting, we have to find out. We have to find out some funny character's name for our story, right?
Yeah.
Like the names that you introduced to us, John
Yes.
Thor or Joe Rock, like that, to make the class situation.
Yeah.
What is it? Interesting,
Yes,
right?
that's it's one way to make it interesting. Like Joe Rock,
Yeah.
John Thor,
John
Bob
Thor,
Rock,
Bob Rock, right? Bob
Bob
Rock.
Rock.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can create
Okay,
anything. Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
any fun
Okay,
names.
okay.
Okay.
Can I
All
ask
right.
question?
Oh yeah, one more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe one more. Yeah.
Okay, one more
How
question, Mister.
if in your case, yeah, when you are taking past continuous tense, suddenly the students forget how to use would and were, because it happens to my class. So it is like I have to reach or remind them about that.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's breaking up here.
Oh,
Could you repeat the question again, please?
yeah. How what would you do if the student suddenly forget the using of words or the
Mm,
to be in the middle of you are teaching this
mm,
subject?
yes. Okay. Uh, Error correction. Okay. Error correction. So during the practice or during the drilling, so in the drilling, we try to make them familiar and fluent and natural, and remind them about the structure. Okay, remind them about the structure. Okay, during the practice, do the correction. We try to remind them. Okay, whether during the activity or after the activity. Okay, do the correction. It happens a lot when they miss the to be, or when they don't use the verb ing, for example, for ing. It happens a lot in in every cases. So the thing is, well, the most important thing is that we have taught them the structure. uh, they learn new language structure. They are familiar now with the structure, with the concept, with the meaning, like that. Yeah, it happens a lot. Just do the corrections, because yeah, that's what the teacher do, monitors and do the correction. Yeah, we correct them.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Ivan. And then perhaps Mr. Sandy, I'd like to also add a little bit, yeah, related to Mr. Ivan's questions right here, is that repetition in drilling phase, right? Is so
Yes,
crucial.
repetition. Yes.
Repetition. So we can repeat, ask the students to repeat the what is it, the sentences even 5 times or even 10 times to make
Yes.
them get used to using this new target language.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. Repetition. Yes.
Repetition,
So
right?
we don't need to what is it? Drill them how to make positive sentence, negative sentence, question, interrogative sentence. Just what we had in the past. Just like they have to write down the sentences, make positive, negative,
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We introduce them to the form of the structure: positive, affirmative, negative question. Sorry, affirmative, negative. We introduce them to that structure. And again, during the practice, there are some that I have shown you in the slide, that there are some approaches that we can do, like gap fill, or uh, what is it, creating new sentences, so the students are familiar with structure. Gap fill exercises, or we give them some incorrect sentence, and then let them try to correct the sentence. So it can be done in the practice. So we can create more
Space.
more fun practice like that. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ivan, and then Mr. Sandy. Okay, it's amazing presentation about PPP method, and everyone. I'd like to thank you, all of you, for joining this workshop. Thank you, Pak Tatang, and then Bu Mariam, and then yeah, Pak Septian, and then Pak Ivan, and then Bu Nina. Thanks a lot for joining, for attending this fruitful workshop. And I guess I personally hope that we can continue. We can meet again in another workshop dealing with this presentation production. I'm sorry, practice and production method, because personally I still need to make me, what is it? What can I say about it? We need to practice as a teacher how to apply this method. I guess we need more workshop dealing with this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone. I guess that's all our workshop for today, and I hope once again we can meet again next time. All right, and let's say hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and then thanks a lot. You may leave the room.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Ibu Nina. Thank you, Pak Ivan.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Ivan, Pak Toto.